For 135 million years, dinosaurs were the undisputed rulers of the Earth. However, our planet has been around for a lot longer than the dinosaurs' reign, and as it turns out, nature has produced some giant prehistoric animals. Of all the prehistoric mammals, Gigantopithecus is the only one to have approached the size of the giant sauropod dinosaurs that preceded it by tens of millions of years. Believe it or not, this 20-ton beast was ancestral to modern rhinos, although it had much longer necks and relatively long, slender legs. The steppe mammoth may have weighed as much as 10 tons, thus putting it out of the reach of any of the prehistoric humans of its middle Pleistocene habitat. Sadly, if we ever clone a mammoth, we'll have to settle with the more recent woolly mammoth, as no quick frozen specimens of this mammoth are known to exist. Glyptodont was a mammal which lived approximately 2 million to 10,000 years ago from the Pleistocene through to the modern period. It was discovered in the early 19th century and was later named by Richard Owen in 1839. Modern armadillos are tiny creatures that will curl up into balls if threatened. That's not the case with this creature. It was a 1-ton Pleistocene armadillo roughly the size and shape of a classic Volkswagen Beetle. Amazingly, the early human settlers of South America occasionally used this creature's shells to shelter themselves from the elements, and also hunted this gentle creature to extinction for its meat, which could feed an entire tribe for days. Thalazomedon was a species of plesiosaur whose name translates from Greek to sea lord, and for good reason. They were massive predators, reaching lengths of up to 40 feet. Its flippers were nearly 7 feet long, allowing it to swim the depths with great efficiency. Its reign as a top predator lasted through the late Cretaceous period, finally coming to an end when the sea saw new and larger predators like the mosasaur. Helicoprion is an extinct shark which lived approximately 290 to 250 million years ago during the early Permian to early Jurassic periods. Helicoprion was a large prehistoric shark-like animal, the largest marine animal on Earth during its time. While partial fossils initially led experts to believe that Helicoprion was only 10 to 13 feet in length, more recent studies have concluded that Helicoprion was closer to 30 to 40 feet long. That may not dwarf the size of the infamous Megalodon, but Helicoprion was roughly double the size of the largest great whites currently on record. Helicoprion is best known for being the world's only animal past or present with a complete 360-degree spiral of teeth. Nicknamed the Buzzsaw Killer, Helicoprion used its unique set of teeth to slice into prey, in a fashion similar to that of a circular saw. While Helicoprion looked and acted like a shark, scientists now believe that it wasn't a shark. They believe that they're related to chimeras, fish that separated their lineage from sharks some 400 million years ago. They're actually deep-sea fish that are known for their large heads. Sharks have replaceable teeth, and chimeras have grinding bone plates that are used to grind up soft-shelled marine animals. One of the most interesting facts about Helicoprion is that it managed to survive the Permian-Triassic extinction event, an extinction-level event which killed off 90% of all marine animals, and 70% of all land animals. However, its victory was short-lived because just a few million years later, this shark would head into extinction. Plesiosaurus can't lay claim to being the largest ever of its breed. That honour belongs to the blue whale, which can grow to as much as 200 tons. Scientists have studied this whale's jaws and teeth and have discovered that it probably had an enormous bite force. They found out this whale could bite down with a force of 2,300 pounds. Paleontologists believe it probably feasted on large fish and small whales, and probably anything else it could have gotten a hold of. One of the most interesting facts about Plesiosaurus is that so many specimens were found in the southern part of the US. As such, paleontologists had plenty of specimens they could use to draw a pretty accurate picture of this prehistoric whale's size and diet. Quetzalcoatlus is the largest identified pterosaur that ever lived. In fact, this aeroplane-sized reptile of North America was the largest animal ever to take to the skies. Although its exact proportions are still a matter of dispute, there's no doubt that Quetzalcoatlus possessed an enormous wingspan, exceeding 30 feet from tip to tip, and possibly attaining sizes of up to 40 feet for the largest individuals, which is around the size of a small private jet. The enormous size of Quetzalcoatlus poses some serious issues, not at least of which is how it managed to launch itself into flight. That's of course if it did fly at all. One analysis suggests this pterosaur vaulted itself into the air using its heavily muscled front legs, and only secondarily employed its long spindly hind legs kind of like a rudder during takeoff. There's also a compelling case that Quetzalcoatlus had no aerodynamic choice but to launch itself over the edge of steep cliffs. Boatloads of kelp littered the shores of the northern Pacific during the Pleistocene epoch, which helps explain the evolution of the stellar sea cow, a 10-ton kelp-munching dugong ancestor that persisted well into historic times, only going extinct in the 18th century. This marine mammal was hunted to oblivion by European sailors, who prized it for the whale-like oil with which they fueled their lamps. Before being discovered by humans, the stellar sea cow would have had very few predators within its watery world. Large shark species would have been the only predators able to tackle such an enormous meal. This creature was also said to be a very tame animal that spent most of its life focusing on eating. However, the stellar sea cow was also said to be unable to submerge its enormous body underwater, making it an easy spot for human hunters. You might think a creature as fierce and feathery as the elephant bird would spend its time preying on the smaller animals of the Pleistocene Madagascar, notably its tree-dwelling lemurs. However, as far as paleontologists can tell, these birds contented itself with picking off low-lying fruit, which grew in abundance in this tropical climate. This conclusion is supported by studies of similar creatures which are well adapted to a fruit diet. Amazingly enough, the first human settlers only arrived on Madagascar around 500 BC, well after almost every other large landmass in the world had been occupied and exploited by Homo sapiens. While it's clear that this incursion was directly related to the elephant bird's extinction, the last individuals died around 700 to 1000 years ago. It's unclear whether these humans hunted these birds, or severely disturbed its environment by raiding its sources of food. Despite its name, the elephant bird was nowhere near the size of a full-grown elephant. Rather, the largest specimens of this animal were around 10 feet tall, and weighed around half a ton, still enough to make it the biggest bird that ever lived. For many years it was believed that the elephant bird was related to the giant moa of New Zealand, which makes sense if you think about it. After all, they're both giant birds. However, that's simply not the case. Scientists have found out they're actually related to another inhabitant of New Zealand, the Kiwi. Some scientists believe that eons ago a group of Kiwi ended up on the island of Madagascar, and eventually evolved to enormous sizes. Because it went extinct in historic times, and we know about its kinship with the modern Kiwi, the elephant bird may yet be a candidate for de-extinction. The most likely route would be to recover scraps of its DNA and combine it with a Kiwi. Titanoboa is new to science, and was discovered by a team of North American scientists led by Jason Head at the University of Toronto. It's the latest fossil to emerge from Colombia's Cerrejón coal mine, one of the world's largest open pit mines, and an unexpected place full of prehistoric reptile fossils. The giant snake could swallow a crocodile, but amazingly just a few years ago scientists didn't have a clue that it ever existed. Without the competition of dinosaurs, this snake was the largest predator on planet Earth for around 10 million years. Thought to be the ancestor of the boa constrictor and anacondas, the Titanoboa wasn't a venomous snake, but instead a very large constrictor snake. Like most modern snake species, they were expert ambush predators, capable of striking at an incredible speed at unsuspecting prey. It was capable of crushing its unfortunate prey with a constricting force of 400 pounds per square inch. When a snake is as long and as heavy as Titanoboa, the rules of physics and biology don't afford the luxury of evenly spreading out that weight along the entire length of its body. Titanoboa was noticeably thicker towards the centre of its trunk. This extra room was needed because of the giant turtles and crocodiles it fed on. Until recently, the 33-foot-long, 1,000-pound Gigantopithecus was hailed as the king of all snakes, until its reputation was eclipsed by the even bigger Titanoboa, which predated it by a whopping 40 million years. Not that Gigantopithecus was any less dangerous to prey than its much bigger predecessor. For example, paleontologists believe this African snake made a regular meal of prehistoric elephants. Titanoboa's fossilized vertebra shows that it was a whopping 42 feet long. By comparison, the largest verifiable record for a living snake belongs to a 10-meter long reticulated python, and that was probably a striking exception. Large population surveys of reticulated pythons have failed to find individuals longer than 6 meters. South America recovered fairly quickly from the plunging global temperatures in the wake of the meteor impact 65 million years ago, which threw clouds of dust that obscured the sun, and rendered first plant-eating and then meat-eating dinosaurs extinct. During the Paleocene epoch, modern-day Peru and Colombia were positively tropical, with high humidity and average temperatures in the 90s, and cold-blooded reptiles like Titanoboa tend to grow much larger in size in warmer climates. Titanoboa was a hefty creature. Using the length-weight ratios of a rock python and anaconda as a guide, it's estimated that Titanoboa weighed over 1.3 tons. That's almost 30 times as heavy as the anaconda, the bulkiest species alive today. Its measurements mean that Titanoboa was not only the largest snake in history, but also the largest land-living vertebrate following the demise of the dinosaurs. At 15 meters long and weighing around 45 tons, Predator X was one of the most powerful marine reptiles ever discovered. Plesiosaurus is an extinct animal which lived approximately 150 million to 145 million years ago during the late Jurassic period. It was first discovered during the mid-19th century, and described and named by Richard Owen in 1842. Its name means Pliocene lizard in Greek. The Plesiosaurus, also known as Predator X, was a giant predator that roamed the oceans. Plesiosaurus would have been around the same length of a sperm whale, but only the weight of a humpback whale. This would have made it a feared predator of any fish which dared across its path. However, being one of the biggest doesn't mean you're the safest. Paleontologists believe there were several reasons why this animal went extinct. First of all, Mosasaurs came on the scene at about this time, and competed heavily with Plesiosaurs for its main food source, fish. That's because Mosasaurs were faster and agiler than Plesiosaurus. They were also more vicious animals. This was just enough of an edge for them to outcompete Plesiosaurs for fish. Second, water temperature began to change during this time, and this creature may not have been able to adapt quickly enough, which is probably why this animal went extinct some 145 million years ago. This giant predator would have feasted on fish, squid, smaller sharks and other giant reptiles. It's possible that giant lizards up to 26 feet long lived in Australia just 30,000 years ago. These giants weigh between 730 and 1,300 pounds, and moved at speeds of up to 6 miles per hour. That makes Megalania the largest lizard that ever lived. Interestingly enough, some scientists believe that Megalania was venomous, so its bite was extremely deadly. However, the Megalania was no match for human hunters. It became extinct about the time humans first reached Australia, meaning that people exterminated it. Scientists suggest that the Megalania hunted other giant prehistoric animals, including marsupials. Terror birds were the top predators in South America and parts of North America during the Miocene, Pliocene and early Pleistocene periods, before they were replaced by big cats and other carnivorous mammals. They were unable to fly but could run very fast, and were very large. The largest specimens could grow up to 3 meters tall and weigh up to half a ton. Their main weapon was their head, which could be more than 1 meter long, allowing them to swallow prey as large as a dog. Tylosaurus was one of the greatest hunters of the ancient seas, ready to seize and take down just about any smaller creature that crossed its path. It had giant jaws lined with 2 rows of pointy cone-shaped teeth. Tylosaurus used its snout to locate prey, which once inside the mosasaur's menacing jaws was swallowed whole. When the sea monster opened wide for a final gulp, 2 extra rows of teeth on the roof of its mouth closed the deal. Tylosaurus grew to more than 45 feet long, making it one of the largest marine reptiles. Like all mosasaurs, a long and muscular flattened tail powered Tylosaurus through the water, allowing it to ambush its prey with rapid bursts of acceleration. Paddle-like limbs help steer the slim body covered in lizard-like scales through the water. Preserved stomach contents indicate a heavy diet on fish, but seabirds, sharks, plesiosaurs and other mosasaurs also failed to escape Tylosaurus' lethal grip. Though not a dinosaur, Tylosaurus lived alongside them, and went extinct at around the same time. Many Tylosaurus remains have been found in Kansas, which was once covered by a large ocean called the Western Interior Seaway. While dinosaurs get all the attention, our planet was full of giant animals before they ever came along. A prime example is Gorgonops, an animal that lived 260 million years ago, way before dinosaurs became the dominant predators. Gorgonops was approximately 10 feet long and weighed around 1,000 pounds, which would have made it about the size of a small great white shark. Plesiosaurus is an extinct marine reptile which lived approximately 135 million to 120 million years ago from the early to middle Jurassic period. Plesiosaurus is not only the name of this reptile species, but also the name of the entire family to which it belongs. This family of reptiles is characterized by their long necks, sleek bodies, small heads and wide flippers. These marine reptiles had very sharp teeth and incredibly strong jaws. This allowed them to not only feed on fish of all sizes, but also on any other swimming animals that may have been in the ocean at the time. Their strong jaws and sharp teeth may have also allowed them to have eaten mollusks that lived along the prehistoric shorelines. Sarcosuchus was by far the biggest crocodile that ever lived, making modern crocs, caimans and gators look small. What made Sarcosuchus so impressive was its size. It could measure up to 40 foot long and weigh up to 10 tons. It's believed that a full-grown supercroc would have been more than capable of taking down a large theropod, such as the contemporary fish-eating Spinosaurus, the largest meat-eating dinosaur that ever lived. Judging by the length and shape of its snout, it's likely that supercroc ate fish pretty much exclusively, although it also feasted on dinosaurs when it had the opportunity. Most people's first encounter with Liopleurodon was in 1999, when the BBC featured this marine reptile in its popular Walking with the Dinosaurs TV series. Unfortunately, the producers depicted this creature of an exaggerated length of over 80 feet, while a more accurate estimate is 30 feet. Nevertheless, Liopleurodon was clearly the apex predator of its marine ecosystem, eating fish, squids and other smaller marine reptiles. Gigantopithecus is an extinct ape genus which lived approximately 6 million to 200,000 years ago from the Miocene period through to the Pleistocene period. This animal was enormous, standing approximately 10 feet tall and weighing around 1,000 pounds. An interesting fact about Gigantopithecus is that, judging them according to their great size, they must have been extremely strong. They could have been anywhere from 12 to 25 times stronger than a modern human being. Its enormous bulk and brute strength kept Gigantopithecus safe from predators it lived alongside, including tigers, leopards and black bears. However, Gigantopithecus is believed to have had an unusual diet. Examining the cavities of the fossilized teeth of this ape, scientists have discovered they most likely lived on a diet of bamboo, much like a modern panda does today, which is kind of odd for an ape, because they usually live on fruits and vegetation. Some cryptozoologists believe these apes never went extinct. They believe they're still living today and are now living as a mythological creature known as Bigfoot or Yeti. However, this has been thoroughly disputed by genuine scientists, because there is no credible evidence that any sort of creature like that is still alive today. Megalodon went extinct 2.6 million years ago, but our fascination with the largest shark that ever lived is timeless. The Megalodon is believed to have had the most powerful bite of any animal. Computer models estimate the Megalodon's bite force between 24,000 to 40,000 pounds. This is 6 to 10 times that of the great white shark and modern crocodiles. This is also 2 to 3 times that of the estimated bite force of Tyrannosaurus rex and the large Mosasaurus. Megalodon lived an exceptionally long time for a super predator. Why it became extinct has remained a mystery ever since its discovery, with numerous opinions being suggested. The Miocene was the period of time where cetaceans thrived, especially the great whales. However, evidence suggests that these were beginning to fall in numbers towards the end of the Miocene. Megalodon was clearly a specialist that hunted large prey, and by removing them from the ecosystems meant they could not eat enough in order to survive. After all, it's been suggested a Megalodon had to eat a ton of food per day to sustain itself. Just like the sharks of today, these sharks were comprised mainly of cartilage. So even though these sharks were immense, the majority of their bodies were not fossilized. Cartilage usually disintegrates too fast for the fossilization process to occur. Therefore, there are still many factors of the Megalodon that we are unsure of. Luckily, teeth have been found and investigated. By researching its 10-foot-long skull, paleontologists believe that Livyatan measured upwards of 50 feet from head to tail, and weighed as much as 50 tons, about the same size as a modern sperm whale. This made Livyatan by far the largest predatory whale of the Miocene epoch, and it would have been secure in its position at the top of its food chain. The South American country of Peru hasn't exactly been a hotbed of fossil discoveries, thanks to the deep geological time and continental drift. Peru is best known for its prehistoric whales, not only Livyatan but other proto-whales that preceded it by tens of millions of years. Livyatan possessed the longest teeth of any animal. They were over a foot long and were used to tear into the flesh of its unfortunate prey. Amazingly, Livyatan even had bigger teeth than its arch-enemy Megalodon, though the slightly smaller teeth of this giant shark were sharper. Leviathan would have needed to eat hundreds of pounds of food per day, not only to maintain its bulk but also to fuel its warm-blooded metabolism. Most likely Leviathan preferred prey including the smaller whales, seals and dolphins of the Miocene epoch, perhaps feasting on fish, squids, sharks and any other undersea creatures that happened to cross this giant whale's path. Whenever this giant whale went extinct, it was almost certainly because of the disappearance of its favourite prey. As prehistoric seals, dolphins and other smaller whales succumbed to the changing ocean temperatures and currents. This is the same fate that happened to Leviathan's arch-nemesis Megalodon. Because of the lack of multiple fossil specimens, we're not sure exactly how long Livyatan ruled the seas, but it's a sure bet that this giant whale occasionally crossed paths with the equally giant prehistoric shark Megalodon. While it's unknown if these two apex predators would have deliberately targeted one another, they may well have butted heads in the pursuit of the same prey. During the mid-Miocene epoch, the territory of these two giants briefly overlapped, meaning they could stray into each other's waters. But who wins in a head-to-head battle between Leviathan and Megalodon? Aside from its bulk, Leviathan had two major things going for it. First, this prehistoric whale's teeth were longer and more thicker than those of Megalodon, some of them measuring well over a foot long. In fact, they're the longest identified teeth in the animal kingdom. Second, as a warm-blooded mammal, Leviathan presumably possessed a bigger brain than any plus-size sharks or fish in its habitat, and thus would have been quicker to react in close-quarter combat. The disadvantages of this creature is that it wasn't the sleekest of whales. It couldn't have swum away from attackers with any great speed. But who would win? As dangerous as Megalodon's teeth were, they were no match for the even bigger foot-long teeth of Leviathan. Also, as a cold-blooded shark rather than a warm-blooded mammal, Megalodon possessed a smaller, more primitive brain, and was presumably less capable of thinking its way out of a tough situation. If Megalodon was able to bite the fins of this giant whale, it may stand a chance of winning the battle, but if the Leviathan was to bite the Megalodon's back, it would most certainly crush the shark's spine, leaving it not able to move. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more countdown videos.